Hi, I'm going to show some photographs and some sketches around the Studley Park area, which involves Yarra Asylum, the Lunatic Asylum, the convent, and the flour mill, and some just general landscape pictures. I'm wondering why so many photographs were taken of this area, but I think I have a reason why. And this particular picture here, this sketch, because what I want everyone to sort of pay attention to is in the centre, right here, there, and down here, and around under there, and up through here. So here is a dog's head. Can everyone see the dog's head? The top of the head here looks like the mouth shut, but it's actually open because the rest of it's underwater, and it's attacking. Is it golden fleece? Is it something to do with golden fleece and the toxic worm or the serpent coming out the mouth, or something phallic? Like, there's something going on in this picture here that I can't quite work out, but it's very supernatural, and it's got a dog attacking a lamb with a serpent or something phallic coming out its mouth. And what has that got to do with asylum, with the lunatic asylum? Or what were they trying to do to people, or what were the people like? Because my belief is it was an Islamic world in Australia, with the Moors and the Berber, and people, for instance, that have been to Islamic countries or know people with schizophrenia, like me, they say, talk to themselves a lot and can talk to God or talk to the supernatural. And this is a very supernatural picture, and it's so supernatural that I have a photograph, and you'll see that little stick sticking out of the water there. There it is, sticking out of the water there near the boat. They just haven't got the boat there. And we'll carry on. This picture here, notice the trees, and it's looking down on the convent or something to do with the Yarra Band area. And then we've got this picture here with some ram and some lambs, a little boat going up the Yarra over the convent. And that's also similar to this picture here, where it's got a rib missing. Again, something to do with the supernatural. And this one here, Q Athenaeum. And I want you to pay attention to who it's drawn by. There's no supernatural in this. But is this Ham? I think it's Mr. Ham drew this. Yeah, Mr. Ham. Ham comes up in a lot of pictures. He did the squatters pictures and showed where the squatting maps are. He comes up quite a lot, Ham. But it's Okaparinga River, South Australia. Steam mill, Okaparinga River, South Australia. So let's do some translations. Okaparinga. And I'm going to translate it from Javanese. And the reason I'm going to use Javanese is I've seen maps that show old Australia when it was connected to Antarctica during, like, when the oceans were rising. There would have been more land, and it looks as if the whole continent of Australia, Antarctica, was nearly connected all the way up under into Brazil. But Okaparinga, check this out. Or given who? Okay, thank you. Okay, Okaparinga. Why are you giving? Why are you giving your soul to the Okaparinga? So Okaparinga's got a lot of translations in Javanese. There it means nothing. Why are you crying? Because I'm going to the lunatic asylum. What is the name of this place? Lunatic Asylum. Please tell me again, lunatic asylum. Give it to me. Yeah, give me that ECT. And the last one is just one day. So very interesting that. I found that interesting, but I have translated it through Spanish and French, and it came up with something dirty in Spanish and something white and pure in sheets, clean sheets, washing the sheets, the dirty sheets. I can't translate that again. I don't know how I did that. But anyway, that's the Okaparinga River, South Australia. And that photograph there looks very similar to that picture there, the Abbotsford Asylum on the bank of the Yarra. Look, that one there, sorry. They're all very similar though. That picture there is similar. And there's another one with the two trees looking through there. And like, what is the point of this picture? Because it is an 1800s picture. And you can see the quality is much better than some of the portrait photos. So there was lots going on, and there's the bridge in the background there. Some fine art sketches of the river that, I don't know why you'd want to hang them on your wall. Again, similarities, photographs and sketches, and there's a lot of similarities between photographs and sketches where they could even be the same thing. A photograph can maybe become a lithograph. There's those white sheets looking over the convent. Some more photographs of Melbourne in the background of someone's house that was of interest. The entranceway perhaps to that house that they had of interest. Because I was in the press. I used to work as a press photographer. So a lot of these are just, can you go out and get a picture of the entrance to the asylum that they're going to sort of, or the Scottish, the Celtic sort of homestead, or the such and such homestead, the Moorish homestead that we're going to convert to an asylum to take all those crazy all those crazy people that talk to God to the asylum. You know, lock up the street people. Again, just a picture of the road, but it's the Yarra Band area. And this picnic at Heidelberg to the inmates of the Yarra Band. Picnic. Like, I'm not sure. And check out some of those hats. Particularly this looks like a red and white flag, like horizontal, vertical of the Indonesian flag. There's something like the Union Jack. But look at that. The Masons. But the Masons would have been the Moors, because the Moors were the ones that were really the true Islamic scientists. And a little chapel on the hill. Christmas Day, a picnic in Studley Park. Who's this bloke? Is he a Moor? And these people in shadow, or were they sort of hinting that they were darker skinned? You know, a large girl. 4 birds in the air, people out on the river. I don't know what they're trying to sort of say here in these sketches. Examination of the deaf and dumb pupils in the Royal Town Hall. And what's that writing say? It's hard to read, but it looks like Velum, Vietman. It's not really understandable what they're saying to these. Look at these judges here. Like, why would all these people just come to look at the new deaf and dumb people? I don't think this ever happened, this photo. And here we go into some photographs. The Good Shepherd Convent. And there's the convent again. That looks quite nice, if it really is a convent, if it's not someone's home. Here's the flour mill. You can see the water's all up and flooded around the convent. And here's the convent again, with some smoke coming out, which could be fake smoke. Look at all the chimneys in the background, because every factory had their own power source, and the power wasn't coal. It was some other sort of free from pollution substance. So here, aerial shot of the convent, looking over the convent. And I don't think the convent's the asylum. It's something else. But it looks like it's been vacated and just sitting there waiting. There it is again. There's the convent, looks like there. So you can see the Yarra running around, quite bandy. And that could be where the asylum was there. Another aerial of that area. So they've got interest in this area. And some more interest, Dwight's Falls. That's the mill. That's Dwight's Falls, just up above Dwight's Falls. The convent. hand-painted photograph. Like they really, really wanted this picture to be prominent, as if something important. And that's the mill in a more, it's hard to say really. Some of these 19th century photographs are great quality, just not the studio ones, or that one. But that's all around the area. And notice how they got the writing in the background, but it's behind the tree. Now, wouldn't you, if you were going to photograph it, photograph the whole sign, unless you didn't want that language to be, well, I'll have a quick look, didn't want that language to be read. Boats to let, fruit, cordials, blah, blah, something dry. There's the mill. What's going on there? And some horse and carts in that area. Collingwood Town Hall. Inside the mill, which looks more like a linen mill now. Yarra Falls. So that's the old work. Looks like the 80s, before they would have closed everything down and we just went full capitalism. Now this picture down the bottom is showing you from 1929 some of the what's they call it, the townhouses, and there they are in flood, the Great Flood of 1891, the townhouses. So they're there. And this photo, another sketch of this bridge, like old Johnson Street Bridge or a railway bridge or something in that area. And that's a Johnson Street Bridge, I believe. Johnson Street Bridge, which has definitely changed now with the convent in the background. Johnson Street Bridge with the convent in the background. This is Penny Bridge, Dudley Park. So that's a little sketch of it. And the entrance, which could be that photograph I said was the entrance to some other home. It could have been the entrance to Penny Bridge, because there's a photograph of the entrance to Penny Bridge. Not the best photo, but they don't want us to really see the quality. To that photo, ring dinger, nice photo of an old trestle bridge falling down. And did they preserve it in any way? You can see that actually, here it is, building the bridge here. Another picture of Johnson Street's bridge with the entrance, it looks like there, to Penny Bridge. But again, what's this purpose of some of these photographs? What are they meant to prove? That could be the old Penny Bridge. This could be an 80s picture, 1980s, I mean. There it is again. Oh no, look at these people in the foreground. Nice outfits. But they could just dress them up to show that it looks like that era. It's hard to tell with the way these photographs have been taken in Australia, as if they're telling us a different history. Now that, I'm quite sure, is Kew Asylum, with the convent or something else in the foreground. So they're looking across, that Yarra must bend all the way through there. But that, I'm quite sure, is the old asylum. And we've got some photographs of that. This, hang on, in the asylum gardens. In the asylum gardens, a Celt. A Celt that looks like a Harlem Globetrotter, or a redhead, or a Harlem Globetrotter. It all depends how you perceive the Africanness in some of these old casts. Dudley Park Courts. And now we're just going to look at some photographs of Kew and probably the old asylum buildings. Another sketch. Nice big leaf plant there. And they always like to draw the smoke in, or paint it in. And yeah, that could be the asylum gardens there as well. And now that building as well is probably that, or could be what's left over of that larger building that we photographed from a distance. And these are just some internals of what it looked like, those buildings, and just some general generic real estate images around the area. They have a lot of interest in the roofs. Now, you'll see this pressed metal in certain buildings in Australia, particularly in Seymour at the butchers. They got them in the railway station. But there's some interest. The reason the photographer's taking this, there must have been some interest in this. Like what's on here? Quite pretty. Look at that grand entrance. Look at that fireplace. Wow. Look at that. In the asylum, like, it's in Kew. I'm pretty sure this is inside the asylum, the main asylum, or the main building. Some more internals. Got a gas heater there, but another fireplace. The gas and fuel, gas light company of Victoria, Gas Light Company.